Right. Hello, sorry, I was having some stream issues, so I had to change my input. So I'm using just desktop capture, which I don't think should be that big of a problem, but now you can see my whole desktop. So, whatever. I just had to like make sure there wasn't anything like spooky compromising on there. But elsewise we're fine. It's been a couple days. Where we last left off, we finished episode 5, which took a lot longer than I thought it would, because it turns out the episode 5 Witch's Tea Party was really fucking long. But boy, was it some good fucking Umineko. And now we're gonna. I kind of did spoil myself a little bit while I was loading in. I did read this, but I will read it again for the sake of reading it again, naturally. Good morning. Now the curtain shall finally rise on a game presented by that Battler Sama. Will Battler Sama manage to successfully and spectacularly fill the enormous role of Game Master? Let us bear witness to this fight from the opposite side of the chessboard. There no longer is a difficulty level. This is no longer a hint, but a confession. So super interesting, especially that last line, confession. Um, I did a little bit of rereading over the weekend. Let me actually make sure I have my LP archive out, just for the sake of having it out. Both this one and this one. Oh my god, that's incredibly nerdy. Like Google searches for my EU5 campaign. That's so bad. Okay, so we got this one and this one. I haven't put anything in my notes, but what I did reread was from. Let me see if I can find the spot. Oh wait, before I do anything else, let me actually plug my channel. Yeah, if you're watching this and you enjoy my Umineko content and you haven't subscribed yet, you totally should. We have a lot of fun. We drink black tea and eat cookies every now and then. I just have a chill little live stream going. And I don't know. So you can like subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, be fun. And I intend to play more kind of story games like Umineko. Not like Umineko. There's not many games like this, but definitely lots of like high brain power story games, I guess. Is kind of what my shit is right now. What I reread was it The Witch's Move? No, it was even before that. It was actually, I believe, Wonderful Utopia is what I reread. And I'm more convinced than ever that Jessica is Beatrice. Like, I really am starting to buy that theory more and more. I just, there's still lots of questions to ask and still plenty of things unsolved. But one thing I do think is interesting is that there's so many different like overlaps between Beatrice and Jessica. Like the foul mouth language, they're both referred to as Sundere or Sundora, I think it's for some reason. And way back in my early episode 1 notes, this I think is a really helpful sentence. That's such a stupid ass thing for me to write. Back in the days where I thought Battler was Keenzo. I didn't take too many notes for episode 1. And there's still so much shit to answer. But I just say, fuck it, let's just jump in. Oh wait, we're not loading. Also, on my VOD for my last episode, somebody suggested I execute Erica in the tip screen. I couldn't. But Beatrice does have execute text, which I did read, which wasn't that important, so I'm not going to show it. I also have a Coca-Cola because I need caffeine. Whoa, hello. Really? Right off the bat, huh? They're just jumping us. We're just straight into it. Got it. A beautiful glow shone in the skylight over the Grand Cathedral. The place was somehow different from the way it had been during the witch's trial. The decorations had changed. Yeah, I can see it's got like roses. The several pleasantly sparkling white ribbons that adorned it were thin like razors, but they trailed beautifully in the air. Flowers were arranged all over in a way that would make any place look cheerful. It was like how a single drop of impure water can spoil an entire cask of wine. Just the presence of those flowers, those ribbons, and the red carpet that ran down the center of the room made it hard to believe that this was the same place Ushira Miyanatsui had been falsely accused of a crime. It had truly become a wedding chapel. Are Beatrice and Battler getting married? Who the fuck is that? Love is generous. Love is merciful. Who the fuck is that? More characters? It's Ryukishi's marriage to peak fiction. Hi, Bedwards. Who the fuck are these two? Are they gay? Hell yeah. These words, spoken by two demons seemed to be in charge of this gathering, were part of a ceremony for making an oath of love before the eyes of God. Of course, in this wedding celebrated by demons, there was no priest in sight. Instead, there stood the witch who controls miracles. In sickness and in health. Yeah, a wife's true job is to be supportive in times of sickness. Isn't that right, Erica? What? Is she marrying George? Damn. George, this is like George's ideal bride. Actually, just make her younger, actually. She's too old. Yes, my master. That looks good on you. What a fitting outfit for one who has conquered the bridegroom. I'm honored, my master. The bride standing on the carpeted path was Furudo Erika. Yeah, you did come in at a good time, Binga. The groom's face couldn't be seen. The bride's outfit certainly was a pure white wedding dress. Her veil represented the white of God's blessing and the white of a demon's cruelty. A great many goat nobles, witches, and demons were gathered for this wedding. If only their heads hadn't been those of goats, it would probably have seemed a very refined crowd worthy of this great cathedral. I'd expect no less of you, Bun. That stuff you managed to think up is always so twisted. A wife supporting her ailing husband. Isn't that a lovely story? It suits you well, Erica. And congratulations to you too, Mr. Groom. Oh, she's really close. What the fuck? At that point, Barncastle stared straight into the groom's eyes. The groom didn't answer. His eyes were gray. His lips would mutter something from time to time, but no one could tell if the words meant anything. Hey, are you listening? You people. She spoke to the groom in the plural. Of course, there was only one groom, and of course, the gray-eyed groom didn't answer. So even though you can hear her, you can't answer. Don't worry, okay? Battler-san. It's okay. I'll just take everything you are and trample it into the ground. The Witch of Miracles sneered with an evil smile that even a demon would shudder to look at. Even that sneer provoked no response. Battler's locked the fuck in from Battler's dim eyes. People live for the sake of love. Therefore, today, you have fulfilled the purpose of your lives. Oh, how great is the power to live, the power of love. I pray that the brightness of this day blesses these two for all time. Just give it a rest already, you demons. Okay, that's funny. What comes next? The couple will now make an oath of eternal love. Oh, God. After that, they'll exchange rings. On Battler's hand was a ring bearing the seal of the one-winged eagle, proof that he was the territory lord of this world. And on Erica's finger was a diamond ring that could not be shattered by any miracle. Diamonds signify an eternal bond. However, in Greek, the word diamond simply means unbreakable. Erica wasn't vowing to love Battler forever. She just wanted to rule over him as her eternal property. This wedding was being performed for the sole purpose of defiling Battler. Why is this how it's starting? I'm really fucking confused. Don't worry. I won't love you forever. After all, the point of this ceremony is to make you submit to me. Your heart will be shut inside an inescapable closed room forever, where I, Furudo Erica, the detective and the Witch of Truth, will command it. Your position as territory lord and your ring will become mine. Can't get... What was that? Can't get out. Look at fucking burn. I still don't know what these two names are. Yeah, I'll bet you can't get out of that closed room. After all, you made it yourself. You'll suffer in that room for all eternity. And I'll remain by your side as your wife forever, getting to enjoy that look of anguish on your face all by myself. Ew. I hate her face. I hate her. I'll defile you forever, Ushiramiya Battler. I'm fucking jamming out so hard. No, I skipped it. What the fuck? Hold up. No, we don't fuck with that. Nope, we were starting the episode. Nope. I had to restart the episode. That totally fucking ruined my jam. Hold up, folks. I'm so sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Yep.
不純動機生命の木の果実は土に落ちた魔法のように不自然で狂気じみたこの儀式が陣を描く筆先で構えるのなら世界ごと否定する
Angie! Oh, fuck yeah. So fucking cool. I feel like every anime song ends like that. Like there's just the part of the song where it just gets chill. Cut the credits. I think my favorite opening for Umineko is the first one though. All that could be heard was the sound of the wind, and a sound of misfortune, bringing sadness and unease to all who heard it. Slowly, I came back to my senses. I finally regained consciousness on top of a bed with a firm mattress. Where was this again? I can't remember where this is, but I can vaguely recall that I must not remain here. Oh, this is very much giving Kuadorian is the mansion theory. The room was dimly lit. There was a light on, but that just made the darkness and eeriness of the room more apparent. There were no curtains over the window, but it was too dark outside to see anything beyond it. If I squinted into that pitch blackness, it felt as though I could see the witch of the forest peeking back at me from the darkness, and I averted my gaze from the window in fear. I can't see or hear it, but I get the feeling that if I leave this room, it'll be bright and warm, and someone else will be there for me. I want to get to where everyone else is as soon as I can. Bad memories from when I was very young began to well up. Horrible, harsh memories of when I started dozing off during a family gathering and was put to sleep in some room I didn't know. I remember waking up there, incredibly lonely and sobbing. I must not remain in this room. I just want to get out of here quickly. What's up with the scary music? Battler, I thought you were in control of this. Battler, you're not going to make this scary, are you? Once that thought crossed my mind, I didn't want to stay in the room a second longer than I had to. I'm scared. It's creepy. Where is everyone? I want to get out of here right now. I opened the door, trying to leave the room. A pleasant glow snuck in through the crack of the door. As I thought, the corridor was filled with a comforting light. I couldn't actually hear them, but I could sense that far away, people were enjoying themselves. I'm sure everyone's gathered in the room across from this one. I've been shut up in this lonely, creepy room all alone. I should go quickly. Who's speaking, I wonder? As soon as I thought this, a merciless metallic sound rang out, and the door refused to open any further. The chain had been set. I've always hated chain locks. You can always open a normal lock just by twisting. But chain locks are built in an annoying way, and I couldn't work them easily. So I've hated them ever since I was very young. See? Even this chain is causing me trouble. And I just can't get it undone. Why is this happening? I just want to leave this creepy room right away. Just on the other side of this thin door, everything is bathed in a warm light. I can't undo it. I just can't undo this chain. The more desperate I grew, the more that unsettling darkness seemed to be closing in on my back, and the more frightened I became. Then, I finally noticed there's something wrong with this chain. Yes, there is a chain, but this isn't a chain lock. This is just a chain staked to the door, preventing it from opening any further. In other words, it isn't made to be opened. What the hell's going on? I'd do something like this, damn it. No matter what I did, no matter how much I struggled, I couldn't pull out the stake or undo the chain or break the mechanism. This door was just a demon's mouth, made to trick me into thinking it would open before crushing my hopes. Even so, if only I could just open this door somehow, get out into the pleasant corridor. Where did my phone go? You know what? Fuck that. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Wait, there it is. And it's because I stopped worrying about it did I find my phone. Cool as fuck. This desire forced me to keep my hand glued to the doorknob. What's going on here? Ooh, I just shivered. But I'm cold. But it was useless. Both the chain and the stake were firm, and no matter how much I clattered them about, there was no chance of the door opening any further. Even though I could see the pleasant hallway through the crack, I had no chance of opening the door any further. Maybe someone will come if I yell. Maybe the door could be opened easily from the outside. When I thought this, I tried to call out to someone, but I couldn't make the words come out. I could mouth, "Someone come here," but no voice left my lips. What's going on? What actually is going on? Someone come. Why can't I cry out? Help me, help me, help me. The mere fact that I can't say help me out loud is even scarier. If I turn around, the witch gazing into the room from the darkness outside might be inside the room this time, standing right behind me. I'm frightened. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Someone help me. Someone help me. I can't get out. Can't get out. Let me out of this room. Help me. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Help me. Help me. Help me. Why is this a fucked up chapter? It sounds like they've arrived, lady. Huh? What the fuck is going on? Oh. Juza? What the fuck is he doing here? Kusa ran his finger down my cheek. In an instant, I awoke from the doze I'd just been in. And she's back? What the fuck? I glared at Amakusa for waking me up in such a creepy way, but he had just pretended not to notice. Where is this? It feels like a parlor in some dignified person's house, but I have no memory of this place at all. Do I even remember my Angie voice? I'll try. It's just like a serious voice. I don't know. Where is this? And why am I...
You should... You still half asleep, lady?
Yeah, sorry. Where are we? Yeah, I still got it.
Huh?
Apparently, he hadn't expected me to forget something like that just because I wasn't fully awake yet. For once, I agreed with him. Why am I in some parlor that I don't recognize? I'm getting the fucking creeps. The sound of the footsteps from the they Amakusa had mentioned had come right up to the opposite side of the door. I could hear conversing voices. Is that a woman? Judging by the coffee and snacks laid in front of me, I was the guest here. In that case, I'd better remember why I came here, or at least who it was I came to visit. Who am I? Ushiramiya Angie. Who's the man standing behind me? Amakusa Juza. It seems that witches who hope for the worst for her are great in number as those who wish to become her master. Okay, his is the same. And then we have Battler, the endless sorcerer and the final game master. He is the ruler of the board game and the territory lord. To prove that he has won Beato's game, he must act the part of the game master. By succeeding in this, his victory will be acknowledged and Beato's game will reach its end. Because he knows all the truth, the plane on which he exists is higher than those of all others. God, that's such a sick cape. God, I wish I had a sick cape. And they've combined all the... Man, Mariage Sorcière is looking kind of weird now. Yeah, and Kinza's already dead. This is gonna be such a fucking weird episode. The man who used to be my guard long ago. He's now the bodyguard Okanogi assigned to me. In that case, is this after Aunt Ava's death? When I've thrown off my pursuers? On that journey to find out what happened 12 years ago? Is that how it went? Do I really have a memory like this? I did not think I'd be getting more Angie. I'm really fucking surprised. Whose is it? There's at least one person here. I think they were conversing, so there might be two people. After a knock, the door opened, and the person I must have come here to meet entered along with an assistant. Oh, wonderful. Even after seeing her face, I can't remember who she is. Our sincere apologies for keeping you waiting. Hachijo Toya is here. That's a relief. The assistant introduced her to me first, and I finally remembered who she was. She? I thought it was a he.
Excuse me, but are you?
That's right. I am Hachijo Toya. A message bottle forger. She's a mysterious novel writer, and her person is surrounded by even more mysteries than those found in her novels. Why is her dress so, like, clinging to her legs like that? What is her fit? She looks like a fucking banana. Why does she give witch to me? She claims to have found the truth of Rokenjima and posts new tales she has written on the web, as though giving out extra hints. However, I have no memory of meeting with her before my trip to Nijima. As usual, Umineko cast not passing the fit check.
The magazines were all talking about your book signing event. Supposedly, a mysterious male author showed up wearing sunglasses and a mask. Never thought you'd be a woman. What's the deal? Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
That was just a double arranged for by the editing department. I was the helper standing behind him at the book signing.
Now there's a shock. I haven't read your works, but I'll bet you're even more mysterious than your books.
Readers only pretend to read books. They read them based merely on the name of the author and the brand and think that they've actually read them. No matter what I write in my books, they don't truly read anything. Speak for yourself, asshole. They just pretend to read so they can look smart and knowledgeable and keep up with the current fad. Why on earth should I expose myself to these people? Why indulge such trash? I see. Looks like you're Madame Hachijo, all right. This person really is eccentric. There's no doubt about it. This is Hachijo Toya herself. Hachijo Toya is a mystery novelist who's become the center of discussion lately. It seems her books themselves have been highly praised, but it's her mysterious debut that's attracted so much attention towards her lately. Last year, she managed to win several different awards for exceptional mystery novels offered by multiple large publishing companies, submitting each of her works under a different pen name. And after that, several highly regarded anonymous works were discovered, one after another, to have been stories she had written in the past under false names. And her popularity soared as she herself became even more mysterious than her books. Despite all of this, the author herself never appeared in public, and everything about her was wrapped in a veil of secrecy. However, just a few days ago, this author finally made a public appearance for a book signing, showing up with a mask that covered his face and drawing even more public attention. And yet, apparently even that had been a fake. Given this person's radically unconventional track record, it was hardly a surprise to hear her casually insult her fans like this. Ew, what is that face? I don't like her, she gives me the ick. I know quite a lot about you too, Ushira Miya Anji-san. I'm stretching, I'm very tired and very sleepy. The talk shows have been saying all sorts of things. I'm sure you've heard nothing good. Yes, nothing good at all. Apparently you employ and fire people on a whim, try to resolve everything with money, and care nothing for the law, as long as you get your way.
Yep, sounds about right.
However, I happen to like intelligent people like you. Is that why you agreed to meet with me? Exactly. You're the only person who's managed to spot that Itoi Kukuro Rego Namu is another pen name used by me, Hachijo Toya. That's actually quite impressive. Itoi Kukuro Rego Namu. It was a pretty strange pen name. However, if you match the Japanese syllables to numbers, you can read it as 11019960566. 11019960576. This massive numbers equal to 18 to the 18th power. Or 18 to the 8th power. 18 to the 8th. In Japanese, Toya no Hachijo. Or in other words, Hachijo Toya. Whatever. Very well done. I was quite impressed. In fact, I was so impressed I decided to let you meet me in person. Welcome to my mansion, child of man. Child of man? Her manner of speaking was extremely condescending, but perhaps because of her elegant manner, it didn't feel particularly irritating. This person had a sort of majestic grandeur about her, which made that style of speech seem almost natural. At least that's how it felt to me. In fact, it felt almost as though this was the manifestation of some noble being who would have no need to show herself before mere humans under normal circumstances. Since I'm not particularly a fan of hers, I guess that this is proof that her mysterious charisma really is nothing to be laughed at. However, I didn't come here to talk to Hachijo Toya, the mystery novelist. I'm interested in Itoi Kukuro Reigo Namu, the mysterious web author who only released her works over the internet. Around the Japanese parts of the internet, Itoi Kukuro is an extremely famous witch hunter. However, she isn't a big opinion leader like Professor Otsuki. She's one of those message bottle forgers who are always on the center of vigorous debate. Message bottle forgers are, as the name suggests, people who forge and post the contents of what purport to be mysterious message bottles detailing the events of the Rokkenjima incident. They claim to have discovered a new message bottle and post either a very similar counterfeit story or a new theory with their own interpretation of the truth. All of which are supposedly written by Ushira Miya Maria. In so doing, they openly take on the name Ushira Miya Maria, writing up new bizarre tales as if they'd been present themselves and knew the truth. That they then send these stories out into the newest sea discovered by humankind, the internet, claiming that it's a third or fourth message bottle. All of the first forgers were either simple pranksters or crooks trying to swindle collectors. Eventually, though, people who claimed to have solved the riddles of the message bottle tales and reached the truth started to appear. And they started creating original works of their own, third and fourth message bottles from Ushira Miya Maria, as though they had moved over to the riddle teller's side. I gotta have some water. These people rewrote the tale of the witch with whatever interpretation they wanted, and every once in a while, parts of their theories would gain big followings on the net. Some of these creations grew to be so wildly trusted, they were believed to contain some grain of truth. The more rigid witch hunters openly despised these people, calling them forgers, counterfeiters, or just witches. Though they claim... Yeah, they're just making true crime fanfiction. That's a great analogy. Though they claim to have researched the truth, they refused to tell anyone and created fake message bottles as though testing everyone else. It was no surprise that more straight-laced witch hunters were seriously annoyed by these forgers. However, among those who simply like to entertain themselves with the occult fantasy of Rokkenjima, an extremely small number accepted these creations as literary works, glad of these additions to the mysterious tale. Itoi Kukuro was the most highly regarded of these forgers. End of the Golden Witch. I've read that one. That's one hell of a hobby you've got there, killing off other people's families however you'd like. Did you come all the way here just to say that? I think not. Final descendant of the Ushira Miya family. In her latest forgery, End, she killed off 7 members of my family, at least during the actual story. No, if you count Alliance and Banquet, the other forgeries she's made before now, then she's killed off most of my family in horrible ways over and over again. Damn, is this just Ryukishi's self-insert? Damn. Maybe. Of course, I want to complain. However, all of her works are known for being, in both form and level of perfection, the closest tales to those written by Ushiramiya Maria herself. Yeah. In particular, Ito Ikukuro's first forgery, Banquet of the Golden Witch. This is so confusing. Because if they're saying she wrote 3, 4, and 5, and Angie's just here, like, what does that fucking mean? What if this is just Maria, but older? That would be a fucking sick theory. Oh, that's totally gotta be older Maria. That's my fucking game theory. Now you might ask yourselves, how did they find Maria's jaw then? I don't know. Maybe she's just got a spare jaw lying around. Managed to fit everything, including Ushiramiya Eva's escape to Kuadorian. People wondered whether this might be the true story of Rokunjima, and it even made it onto the talk shows. So far, all of these tales have been nothing more than electronic text on the web. However, people will eventually realize that Itoi Kukuro is actually Hachijo Toya. When that happens, they'll become the works of that bizarre Hachijo, and no one will think of them as mere fan creations. People will probably start wondering if this might actually be a third message bottle she found and released under the guise of a story she herself wrote. Yeah, it's just a mechanical jaw. Like, works by me. When that happens, these stories will probably seem even more bizarre and credible. You're pretty cunning, aren't you? Why do you say that? You're doing this to make your forgeries seem more mysterious and more credible. And what do you mean by credible? Once you've gained credibility, your forgeries will rise to the level of truth. Rise to that level of truth? How foolish. Such a thing is unnecessary for my works. Are you saying that because your works are truth and not mere forgeries? Correct. They are truth, so there's no need for them to rise into anything. You aren't Maria One-chan, and you definitely weren't on Rokunjima on that day. So how can you be so absurd as to call this the truth?
Hey, don't lose your cool, lady.
Shut up. What makes you think I'm losing my cool? Angie half realized that she'd let her emotions get the better of her. She let out a sigh and shrugged. Your reason for coming here? It wasn't to yell at me for killing your family several times within my forgeries, correct? Hachijo had been smiling at Angie kindly, but in a condescending manner. Or else, like a mother might watch over a very small child. Angie realized this and was unable to suppress her irritation. Apparently, Amakusa could tell that Angie was suddenly getting worked up. He joked around with her for a bit so they could start the conversation over again from the beginning. I'm so fucking confused. They even reset the track to the very first track in Umineko. It's this one. The thing you came here to hear. It's the truth that I've reached, is it not? Why are you so sure that you've reached the truth? Because I've understood all of the tales. And I'm asking you why you're so sure about that. Do you think that the sun ever revolved around the earth? Hachijo suddenly started talking about the Ptolemaic theory. Angie was about to tell her not to answer questions with more questions, but she quickly realized what Hachijo meant. Humans used to support the Ptolemaic theory. However, that theory has been rejected in the modern age. Does this mean that, at the instant that theory was rejected, the sun stopped moving around the Earth and started revolving around the sun? Of course not. The truth doesn't change based on what humans believe. They're right then, right now. Your denial of my truth means exactly the same thing. Does it? The idea of heliocentrism was proposed by several scholars before Galileo. However, it was hard to objectively prove that theory using the scientific techniques available at the time. Even so, that didn't change what the truth was, and yet it moves. So you're saying the truth is still whether you can prove it or... So you're saying the truth is still the truth whether you can prove it or not. Correct. In the future, when the full truth finally becomes known, people will look back and realize that I had already discovered it. Lamau, my fanfic of your family dying is the same as the scientific revolution of the Middle Ages. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to justify. Apparently, Angie just couldn't stand Hachijo's attitude. She kept getting irritated, and every time Amakusa would joke around, until she settled down again. However, there could be no mistake that Hachijo was a genius, and had used her extraordinary intuition to form a most interesting outlook on the events that occurred on that island. That was why Angie had wanted to contact Itoi Kukuro and hear her views. Still, this meeting had been very fortunate for Angie. She hadn't been absolutely sure that Itoi Kukuro was Hachijo Toya. She hadn't thought that the publishing company would really contact the author. And moreover, she hadn't dreamed that the mysterious masked author would grant her an interview under such short notice. Yeah, I just said the same thing, Binga. I just said that I thought she was a Ryukishi self-insert. But I don't know. I don't really think it's that important of a detail one way or the other. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that the sum of the events leading to this miracle made nothing short of a miracle. Yes, a miracle. After all, in almost all cases, I'd never be contacted by the publishing company. It would leave for Nijima the next day. This is some fragment shit. I'd leave for Nijima, then go out on to Rokkenjima, and then give One-chan a Sakutaro stuffed animal. Huh? Why a Sakutaro stuffed animal? My memory of the future is all muddled. My head hurts. What the fuck is going on? Hachijo said something about showing Angie something good, rose from the sofa and headed for the study desk. When she turned her back, Amakusa asked Angie, who seemed to be troubled by something, if she was okay. Hey, Amakusa, how long have I been here? What?
You've been looking weird for a while now. What's going on?
I can't remember how long I've been sitting here.
Are you still half asleep?
That's not it. I mean, I was able to get an appointment with Professor Otsuki, but the publishing company never got back to me about Itoi Kukuro. So in the end, I was stuck, unable to do anything that entire day, right?
Huh?
Amakusa, you went to get that large black bag, didn't you? That's right. Just before we left for Niijima, Amakusa and I parted ways just one time. He said something about getting a weapon from an acquaintance of his, and he went to go get that large black bag. Wasn't that today? What the fuck is going on, actually? What am I talking about? I mean, didn't I go to Nijima? Meet Captain Kawabata? And inside the bed shop... Huh? What? This is like deja vu out the ass. Something wrong. Did my confusion, uncertainty make me sigh out loud? Even though Hochijo's back was to me, she slowly turned around and smiled as though she had peered into my heart. No, it's nothing. Strange memories, ones that even I can't understand. I tried to hide my confusion. But for some reason, Hachijo had a strange glint in her eyes, as though she could read my mind. I have revived and killed your family several times within various forgeries, almost like a witch might. Reviving and killing them whenever you like, endlessly. Sounds almost like Beatrice, doesn't it? Yes, it does. So please follow the lead of all those people on the web. Consider the possibility that I might be a witch. Oh, shit. She took a thickly packed brown envelope out of a locked drawer. It appeared to be filled to the brim with printer paper. Perhaps this was a manuscript from one of her works. The neat little letters written with a fountain pen on the envelope spelled out the word dawn. The neat letters written with a fountain pen spelled out the word dawn. Now, I had a game theory. I don't know if I even said this. Is I think Yoake is I think Canon's name is gonna be something day related, like Canon's human name. Because I googled Sayo, which is Shannon's name, and it means like some night shit. But I wonder if that's Canon's name, and his name's really like Yoake or something. Or Day, maybe? Day. Heat. Light. Raito. I mean, I don't know. There was no forgery by the name of Dawn, which must mean Angie could tell. This was a new one. Hachijo's newest, unreleased forgery. Dawn of the Golden Witch. For one such as I, who knows everything is boring. However, I don't dislike letting the ignorant read my works to see what kind of reactions they have. And so I want you to read it. You want me to read your newest work, which you've created as the new Endless Witch? Correct, child of man. God, I'm not over the fuck that freaking Angie has these like fucking chicken bone ass arms. I can't unsee it. It looks so fucking weird. Like her fucking arms are so skinny that this like badge doesn't even I think it's so fucking funny. Her proportions are just a little off. Yeah, eat something, girly pop. Let's put an end to this farce, shall we? Who are you? I don't remember ever meeting you like this. Yes, I did try to contact Hachijo Toya, but in the end, I never got a chance to meet her. Ooh! In other words, all this is a falsehood. Whose piece am I this time? Ooh! They're in the game! Sorry, but if you think you can tame Ushiramiya Angie so easily, you're making a big mistake. It's gonna be Erica. Yes. I hoped you'd be this interesting. Oh, what the fuck? Come on. Making me tab out like that. How fucking dare you? She finally couldn't hold it back and burst out laughing. Gradually, the space around them seemed to be filled with a strange purple mist. The room itself seemed to twist and bend. What the fuck? Her figure also twisted, and after something that couldn't be described elapsed, her form changed to become just what she had called herself, a witch. What is that thing? What is that? Get the fuck out of here. That is so bad. Can I get a full shot of it? What the fuck? Splendid. You did well to see through my veil. It seems I'm the type witches just love to cling to. Yeah, go back to the human fit. This is worse. You all have the same condescending tone towards humans. I figured that you were a witch right away. The novelist sitting on the sofa was nowhere to be seen. Even Angie's bodyguard, who was supposed to be around at times like this, was gone. There was only a non-human figure relaxing in a large, ornate rocking chair. I find you truly intriguing, child of man. Your charming nature is the perfect medicine for my boredom. At least this witch is an adult. Yeah, well, I don't see anything charming about this. Why am I alive? Wasn't I killed in a pretty nasty way for breaking the rule about revealing my name? To be honest, I did doubt that those people would just let me go so easily. What kind of farce will I be forced to go along with this time? I really don't care. I'll just do whatever I can within the bounds of the role they gave me. Whatever I can to help Oni-chan. Of course I understand. Even if he wins, he'll never come back to me. Even so, I'll struggle on. I'll make sure Oni-chan comes back to the me of that day. No need to lose your temper. I am not asking you to be at peace. Wait, didn't they call her an observer? Yeah, she's an observer. So this is just her in spectator mode. Because she's like she has to respond. Don't tell me you want to read this new story or whatever it is you've written. That's it exactly. I do not want you to be my piece. I've always been a mere observer. And I have no intention of sticking my neck into their game. Get it. What is it that you want from me? Be an observer for me. An observer of the fragments Beatrice has woven. An observer? I don't really get it, but no deal. In the past, I observed the fragments through Battler's eyes. However, now that he has succeeded the position of Game Master, he is not a suitable observer. I am following this tale with true and earnest intentions. It would be such a waste to observe it through the eyes of Battler as he is now, like reading a detective novel backwards. Oni-chan is the Game Master? What on earth are you talking about? You must have no clue what it's all about. You want to know, don't you? I want to know too. What kind of tale will Battler weave now that he has taken the position of Game Master? Furthermore, I wish to search for the truth Battler reached as a part of my own mental journey. My illness affects me gravely. If I do not think, I cannot even keep my heart beating. So, you want me to read this new picture book aloud to you? You might as well interpret it that way. In exchange, you will also be able to take part in your own journey of the mind. I do believe that even you have yet to reach the truth. I think you want to continue on the journey to find that truth. I don't owe you anything. Do not push your luck. I can be lenient at times, but such cases are rare. Angie hadn't yet reached the truth either. Though she knew that the game was a little more than a toy for the amusement of those witches, she wanted to resume it. She wanted it to resume so that she could follow the tale and close in on the king called Truth. I might explore the tale to find the truth for myself, but I have no obligation to read it aloud until the end for your sake. Understand? Angie was willing to read the story aloud, but she could quit at any time if the witch made her mad. Yeah, imagine reading the whole story out loud and doing that for several hundred hours. A couple hundred hours. That would be so crazy. She was, in effect, warning the witch not to annoy her. Of course. You call it a picture book, but to me, it is the only medicine for a fatal illness. I cannot take the medicine without you to assist me. I mean, fuck. Okay. In other words, it's a mutually beneficial agreement, I think is what she said. Arrangement. So you're telling me to read you a book until you fall asleep. In exchange, you'll let me read it too. Is that right? Precisely. If you are willing to accept, I shall ask that you become my reader for a time. Well, it's nice to get my own title, but all you really want me to do is read books, right? This is one of the freakiest ass tracks in the game. Becoming my reader means the same as becoming my familiar. In other words, what is done against you will be done against me. I will not permit anyone to disrupt my only interest, that being to read the rest of Beatrice's tale. I will not let Burncastle, Lambda Delta, or even Beatrice force anything upon you. This witch, who seemed to have an almost divine quality to her, spoke both quietly and forcefully. There was no threat in her words. However, even so, it was clear that she was on a different level than Burncastle and the other witches, and not at all to be taken lightly. So you'll offer me protection if I agree to read your book? Of course. What I want is for you to read aloud to me. I will not spare any who attempt to stand in the way of that. What is this fucking sash? Why does the sash not go across her torso? Why is it just draped down like that? Doesn't that mean it just falls off like super easily, like all the time? If my attitude seems arrogant to you, allow me to apologize, child of man. It may not seem so, but I am speaking to you with the utmost respect. Yeah, no, probably. Even that witch-like style of speech feels like it's got to be the most respectful thing you've said in the last few hundred years. When you're reading a book, do you tell it, "Thank you very much," before flipping through the pages? I guess it's like that. I understand. Just by agreeing to have a conversation with Angie, she was showing an incredible amount of respect and willingness to compromise. Angie shrugged, but also nodded to show her consent. Sure, I'll be your reader. I get that you showed a ton of respect just by asking for my consent first. You understand well, child of man. My name's Angie, not child of man or whatever. Very well. As proof of my respect for you, I will acknowledge your name. For her, acknowledging human names was like acknowledging the names of all the leaves scattered across the ground. So her acknowledging Angie's name was a miracle. No, it was immensely good fortune. From this point forth, Ushira Mia Angie will serve as reader and Miko to the Witch of Theater Going, Featherine Augustus Aurora. The Witch of Theater Going? Drama and spectating. She is tired of life after 1,000 years and constantly repeats a cycle of life and death. In the past, she served as the master for several games as a legendary witch, but her legend, glory, and memory have already disappeared into the past and have been forgotten. Only the solemn medal she wears on her chest. It's not even a sash, it's a whole ass scarf. It's just gonna fall off. She takes like 2 steps and the freaking... it just goes bing! The horseshoe-shaped object floating around her head is a memory aid device that records her name, appearance, and other aspects of her personality. She is so old that she would not be able to preserve her own individuality without this. Alright, Featherine Augustus Aurora. New witch time. Until you finish reading, I shall bring calamity to all those who attempt to hinder your task. When the Witch of Theater Going, Featherine, spoke this, Angie was wrapped in a bright light. My feet are so fucking cold and I'm wearing socks. I don't know why. Angie didn't feel any particular change in herself. And all my blankets are out of reach. That is awful. But she definitely had been given something that only non-humans could sense. It signified that from this point forward, Angie would be the Witch of Theater Going's subject. It didn't mean that Angie would gain some sort of special power, but at the very least, it probably meant that anyone wanting to cause her harm would first have to take on Featherine herself. Your name is pretty long. Sounds like some Roman person from the history books. What should I call you? Those not familiar with me called me Augustus Aurora. After all the respect you've shown me, it's only fitting that I respond in kind. I'll call you Featherine. Any problems? Not at all. For an ailing witch such as myself, even being called by my first name will be an experience to be treasured and pondered over, a child of man. I have a name. It's Angie. Even conversations like this are pleasant every once in a while. Angie, my Miko. What is a Miko? I forgot I have this shit up. A young priestess who works at a Shinto shrine. Or a foot massager. Cool. Angie accepted her role. She would observe this story with the Witch of Theater Going. The curtain was rising on the 6th tale. Damn, just like that, huh? That would make sense. At one time, only Beato and her fellow witches had gathered in this smoking room to chat. Now, however, an unusually large number of people were present. I wonder what kind of game Batla's gonna show us. I don't care what it is. As long as it's fun enough to relieve my boredom as I crush it. Leave everything to me, my master. I will perform to my fullest and give you the results you desire. Yeah, you better. I kept making strange faces all last game thanks to you. I hope you don't start getting wrinkles from all that. There's no need to worry. The beauty of my master's face is without peer, no matter how wrinkly it may get. She didn't like that. It's rare to see Burn in such high spirits. Beato's game board really is something else.
How sad is it that the master of this game board is no longer with us?
A tiger dies and leaves behind a child. Looks like Beato died and left behind her game. Even though chess still exists, no one knows the name of the person who invented it. Oh, you're right. Poor game inventors. Come to think of it, Battler-san really has kept us waiting, hasn't he? Is he still setting up the 6th game?
Gertrude, how have Lord Battler's preparations progressed?
Allow me to speak. Please, allow me to speak. Know that he'll be finished very soon. If he's kept us waiting this long, he must be pretty confident in his plan. He really humiliated me in front of my master last time. I'll defeat him no matter what it takes. And you in particular, make sure you don't screw up again.
Oh, I will meet the challenges with all my strength.
The previous game master, Lambda Delta, had confirmed that Battler understood everything about Beato's game. However, in order to prove it, Battler would have to run this game by himself and carry it through to completion. In other words, if Erica could crush this game of Battler's, she would in effect wipe away the dishonor of the last game. Though Erica was chomping at the bit to get started, it was taking Battler quite some time to show himself. At that time, a swarm of gold butterflies popped into existence and took a human form. From the shape of that familiar dress, everyone immediately realized who it was. Beatrice! What the fuck? Ah, look, it's Beatrice-san. Alright.
Kono baka, Battler da.
このバカがてっきり前回死んで消えたとばかり消えたのはプレイヤーのベアトよこいつは駒でしょバトラの
Oh, this is Peace Beatrice from Battler. So Beatrice is dead? That's Glanor's voice? Fuck that. Beatrice gave an elegant curtsy as she appeared. This humble entrance was so vastly different from her usual high-pitched laugh that it made the long-awaited start of the 6th game feel even more ominous than it otherwise would have. Father will be here very soon? That doesn't even sound like Beatrice. This is like the most polite-ass Beatrice. Yeah, I'm banishing. God, even Lambda's voice fucking... It's so different than mine. Not only had Beato started talking in an unusually polite manner, she had also used the word father, presumably referring to Battler. For an instant, everyone was stunned into silence, but they quickly realized that this was setting up some kind of theme, and they grinned. Beato wasn't the type who who could keep up this kind of act for long. It would probably fall apart in a few seconds, leaving her cackling rudely at everyone. Erica, who was itching for a fight, went for Beato almost at once.
まさか無能のバトラさんがあなたのゲームの真相に至るなんてね。お父様なればこそ
Why does she calling him father?
さすがだと思います。
I can't. I'm sure father understands it quite deeply. He really is good at that sort of thing. Still, you're pretty lucky. If Battler hadn't become the game master, you wouldn't have revived again. You really get the luck of the devil, don't you? The luck of the devil? Well, either way, I'm going to pay you back in full for last time. You're just one of Battler's delusions, so I'll erase every part of you and knock you down into the abyss of oblivion. I cannot allow you such an easy victory. I, look forward to having a good, clean fight. By this point, everyone had realized that something weird was going on. There was no doubt that the face, the dress, and the hair were all Beatrice's. However, her expression was different. Even though she had had Beato's face, Beato would never show anyone an expression like that. Who are you? I love reading Lambda when she's just like chill. Not when she's all like doing the Lambda thing and she's like, "What's up, witches?" But no, just like the, "Who are you?" Lambda spoke for everyone there. At first, Beato had worn a smiling yet blank expression. However, when she realized the mood had gone reading is hard, suddenly stiff, her expression finally darkened and she hung her head. Who are you?
You appear to be Lady Beatrice, but are you not?
Even Glanor was forced to ask despite the rudeness of the question. That was how much this woman, who appeared to be Beato... Yeah, Eric, I'm already freaked the fuck out. We met a new witch, Featherine Augustus Aurora. So, and that was already weird, and the whole thing was just been really bad vibes ever since the beginning, and I really don't like the fact that Battler's in charge of this game. Ow, ow? Is that what they call her? That's so sweet. Was not. Whoops. Am I somehow different from the Beatrice everyone was expecting? What are you talking about? Wait a second. Don't tell me you have amnesia or something. I was only born recently, so I have no memories at all. However, I will study hard in order to become the Beatrice you all expect. Beato, I thought I told you to stay in your room. Battler's voice came out of nowhere. I want to see his cape. His tone was very slightly cold. Beato's expression looked like that of a young girl being scolded. Is that a different butterfly? Fuck, he got his cape upgrade! With a swirl of gold butterflies, Battler appeared. His dignified bearing and appearance were fitting for the ruler of this game. And now he gets the Kinzo music. That's so fucked up. However, his expression was gloomy, and his gaze was directed at Beato. Go back to your room. You weren't supposed to be here. I just wanted to help you however I could, Father. Go to your room. He spoke both softly and forcefully. Battler didn't leave her any room for debate. Beato hung her head and curtsied as she prepared to leave the room. Also, yes, what is it, father? My name is Battler. Never call me by a different name again. Yes. Beato melted into a cloud of gold butterflies and disappeared. I am fucking terrified. Why is Battler scaring me? This is the first part of the tale with Battler as the game master. The witches had all assumed that he'd come forward with some flashy big developments, so this was all completely unexpected to them. Their mouths were still hanging open. This is a pretty weird take on it. Pardon me. Please forget what you saw just now. You're playing dumb, but this is all just a part of your plan, isn't it? You're scheming to give us the wrong impression, like another North Wind in the Sun strategy, aren't you?
Is there something wrong?
Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with you people. I see. Guess it doesn't matter then. Okay, Battler, start up a new game right away. Why is your former love interest now calling you father? Ignore it. That shit is freaky as fuck. You've kept us waiting so long, so it's gotten totally boring. Sure. Let's just start the 6th game. Erica, you two burn castle. This will be my tale. Proof that I've reached Beatrice's proof. Lambda Delta, please watch this game until the end as a former game master. Sure, looking forward to it. What's the title? Dawn. As in, the dawn of the Golden Witch. Sure, if we're talking about a winter's sun that goes below the horizon right away. Of course, my master. I'll drag it back down for you. At least your naming sense is good, Battler-san. I'll give you that much. I'm glad you like it. Then, let's get started. The 6th game will now begin. Battler solemnly announced the start of the game. Compared to his fired-up attitude at the end of the previous game, where he and Erica had sworn to settle everything next time, he was extremely quiet now. Angie. Beato seems to have changed a lot since we last saw her. I'm surprised too. I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't even get why Beato's alive in the first place. I just finished reading it a second ago, but at the end of the previous tale. Yeah, I was really surprised to see Angie's back. Didn't she just die before Battler reached the truth? There are 2 kinds of death in this world. One of them is when a piece is taken from the game board. Such a death only exists within the bounds of the game, and these lives can revive over and over again each time a new game begins. That's why the witches are so merciless when it comes to taking those lives. To the witch players, the lives of those characters who appear on the game board are no different from pieces on a chessboard that take other pieces and get taken. After all, these pieces will be set up again when the next game starts. Maria's Sakutaro is a prime example of these. Sakutaro is One-chan's piece? Yes, that makes sense. In the game board that represents the inside of One-chan's head, Sakutaro certainly does exist. I miss Sakutaro. It is a piece that always stays by her side. Though he's nothing more than a stuffed animal in the real world, on One-chan's game board, he's no less of a piece than any other. But I wonder, if he were a piece in a witch's game, it should be possible to revive him easily, right? But One-chan wasn't able to revive Sakutaro in her world. That's because she lost that completely unique stuffed animal that was his vessel. Because of this, the conditions for that piece's existence were violated, and it became impossible to revive him on Maria's game board. The only reason you were able to revive Sakutaro on the game board is because you once again satisfied the conditions for his existence, correct? True. Maria One-chan was only unable to revive him because of what she had lost, because she had lost the stuffed animal that was his vessel. If, like the rest of my family on Beato's game board, she hadn't needed a vessel for him, she would have been able to revive him as often as she wanted. I get it. It makes sense that Sakutaro was One-chan's piece. At least as long as his vessel was okay, he could have been revived over and over again. Correct. As long as his vessel is safe, he can be revived over and over again. That's what the life of a piece is like. That's the first kind of death in this world. What's the second? That's the death of beings outside the game board. To continue with the Sakutaro example, this would be like Maria's death. You mean, not her death as a piece, but the death of the real One-chan, right? Not necessarily. Loss of interest or concern would have the same effect. When Maria outgrows playing with stuffed animals, Maria, the game player, will die. It's as quick and easy as turning off the switch on a TV when you get bored of it. I see. In that case, Beato the player completely gave up on winning during the last game, so she died and vanished, which means if Beato ever comes back, thinking she's got a chance of defeating One-chan, that'll mean she's come back to life, right? Logically, that is true. It's the same for humans, witches, and even gods. If they lose interest or concern, they can die at any time. And if they regain that interest, they can revive at any time. Oh, hi, Chadwick. Hi, Aliana. We got a fuck ton of people here tonight. What the fuck? Time shoots by like an arrow in the human world, and it isn't so easy there. That's true. Skipping school for one day might not be a problem, but if you skipped for 3 days in a row, it'd be really hard to convince yourself to go back. And what if that stretched out for a month, a year, a decade, or 1,000 years, like in the world of witches? I see. We were doing fucking backflips like crazy. We were having a great time. That was such a good stream. If you skipped class for that long, it'd mean your death socially. After being dead that long, not only would you be unable to catch up on all you missed in the world at large, you'd also lose any motivation you might have had when you left. So even though you'd be alive, it'd be fair to say that you died once. You would never again be able to regain the self that you once were. It would never come back to life. Beata lost any chance or hope of winning. Even though she knew this, she pretended not to and kept on fighting for many, many games. So Beato will not return. Her hopes were crushed. She spent all of the willpower that she might have used to regain the will to fight. Therefore, no! No! I want that Beatrice back. What the fuck? No, I'm so sad. You can't just say that. I don't want Beato to be dead. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but shit. I didn't think it was gonna happen then. That Beato, who just sat around the whole time with empty eyes in the 5th game, must have been her corpse. That scene was so good. She managed to remain on the game board despite it all, but then even that corpse was wiped away. I'm so sad. If Beato had been the game master at that time instead of Lambda Delta, the game board itself would have vanished at that moment and everything would have ended. Come to think of it, Beato started to lose the will to fight back near the end of the 4th game. When Beato loses her will to fight, the world of this game disappears. However, the witches wanted to keep playing in this game board world. So Lambda Delta bound Beato in place with that cursed shackle. The red web? She used that shackle to fix the game board in place and prevent it from disappearing. Even if Beato did lose the will to fight. In chess, this would be the equivalent of removing the set time limit for each turn, making it endless. I cannot play chess with time limits. I can't do that. However, simply having the game endlessly paused on Beato's turn would cause the witches to die from their illness of boredom. That's why Lambda Delta took the position of Game Master. Starting then, Beato's existence was no longer one of the conditions necessary for the game's existence. That's probably why the shackles binding her to the game board were released. Yeah. I've said this before, but I'm starting to picture the meta scenes as shit that's actually happening somehow. I don't know. That explains why she disappeared in the 5th game. Let's turn on a light. So, when Oni-chan managed to reach the truth, it was one game too late for him to tell Beato about it. The 5th game was a form of charity on Lambda Delta's part. She merely showed Battler some mercy as the Witch of Certainty, acknowledging his strong desire to reach the truth no matter what. How can you call that charity? It's just those fickle witches killing time. Let's get back to the point. So, that means this weird Beato isn't the player Beato. Ooh, it would be a good stage play, I agree. She's just a piece Beato. True. If that is the case, she should eventually become the Beato everyone knows. I imagine that is the Beato that Battler wants. You mean he wasn't satisfied with just a doll? When playing with dolls, one can project the personality they most desire onto the doll. However, since you are acting out on their part, nothing unexpected can ever happen. You cannot hope for any unanticipated happiness. In the human world, there is nothing so boring as a pre-established harmony. That's why, though a doll can become a person's best friend in the world, people eventually get bored and outgrow them. Oh, whoops. Man, my lips are so fucking chapped today. Oni-chan only wants the real Beato. He couldn't bear having a doll that only acted like Beato. A Beato born as Battler's piece would probably move according to Battler's wishes. That's only natural for a piece. Pieces move however their players tell them to. I wonder if Battler is seen as being over Beatrice. No. Beatrice actually isn't even here. Oh my god, these transitions are getting a bit much. And they can't do anything else. I see. What it is Oni-chan wants. So what's up with this weird Beato? Oh god, and this is why Battler's gonna do all the murders. Battler might be trying to revive Beato in the truest sense. That is the never-dying dream held by children of man. You just used the red to say that it wasn't possible. That Beato will never revive. However, that doesn't mean it is impossible for Beato to be born again. Have you forgotten? I believe that Burncastle herself revealed Beato's true form at the end of the first game. Now I remember. She said something about how Beato exists as the incarnation of a rule. Here, I actually have that in my notes. Beatrice is the personification of the rules of the world. Ah, that's Winchester theory written down. Whoops, what the fuck? This is so Battler's Keenzo coded, I'm afraid. Information began to be accumulated based around that rule. And in the end, it took the form of the witch known as Beatrice. If that pattern is followed once more, the same Beatrice will be born again. And perhaps one could call that a resurrection. In other words, that weird Beato is Beato as an egg or maybe a chick. Why does this motif keep happening of Beatrice being reborn and having to like rediscover her memories? Why does that keep happening? That interpretation is probably accurate. In short, this Beato is a chick who might grow to become that Beato. And that means this pure and lovable kid will eventually grow into that screwed up, crazy witch. In other words, do they really have to say, in short, and that means, in other words, that Beato is a baby version of Beato we all know. So just like how no person is born evil, the newborn Beato isn't evil either. Even though she really is a different person, if you measure her by her root, or perhaps her soul, then maybe you really could call this a resurrection. However, this reality can't possibly be easy to accept. Though she may technically be Beato herself, she is also, without a doubt, a different person. That way she acts would make anyone feel as though something's out of place. How entertaining. Hearing you read aloud is far from boring. I doubt you really even need someone. I doubt you even really need someone to read aloud for you. It looks like you already know everything. Well, she fucking wrote it! I only reached that thought because I haven't engaged in a conversation with you. My thoughts are more numerous than stars in the sky. I only appear to know everything to a child of man like you. However, without you here, I am nothing but a weak, sickly person without even the power to think. If you just said that in the first place, I would have agreed to read for you a lot more easily. My mood just happened to improve. Don't get an overswelled impression of yourself. Your life means less to me than a leaf one is lost after using it as a bookmark. Please keep reading it already. Is that pretty much what you're trying to say? Okay. Far from boring. You really do make an excellent Miko. Featherine rocked back in her chair and looked up at the ceiling. Featherine is actually Kinzo's wife. Incoming theory. Laughing as though the conversation itself was pleasant for her, Angie was slowly figuring out how to deal with this strange witch. This person was also bored. It's not uncommon for a sick person who's bored from being bedridden for a long time to start acting rebellious. On the other hand, they could also get a little bored of being treated kindly all the time. She may want to be shown respect for her superiority, but it's probably more interesting for her when she's spoken to rudely. What a coincidence. That's exactly how I used to be. Anyway, from what we learned in the fourth game, there's no doubt that there's been some kind of antagonism between Beato and Oni-chan in the past. Learning about this Beato might give us a key to finding the truth. It does seem so. It has caught my interest as well. Let's read her tale, too. Oh, sure as you wish, my master. When Angie raised her hand like a conductor, the bookshelves in this bizarre study responded. Once again, several books floated out and began to swirl around Angie. Okay. You go. Oh, fuck yeah, Kinzo. Spoon feed me some Kinzo reading. The first time I read Kinzo in this game is actually fucking crazy. I do a whole ass soliloquy as Kinzo. It kind of does somehow set the stage for the whole rest of my Let's Play, but I put so much fucking energy into reading Kinzo my first part of my Let's Play. It's so fucking hilarious. Kinzo studies the room belonging to the master of the human world. So this study in the world of non-humans, I call it the world of demons, belonged to the master of the game board, and was a place where he could look down upon the humans. Therefore, one could hardly be blamed for mistaking the imposing Barobid man, ooh, Barobid, in the center of the study is Kinzo, if only for a second. But it wasn't Kinzo. This was Battler, the one who had taken up the position of Game Master, becoming the new territory lord of this world. Around Battler was a swirl of glowing fragments, sparkling like the night sky. And on the floor was what appeared to be a red magic circle. To an outsider, it would seem to be nothing more than an incomprehensible geometric shape. But to Battler, who stood at its center, it was the outline for a new tale. I think there are many parallels between Battler and Kinzo. I mean, especially when they say lines like this. Therefore, one could hardly be blamed for mistaking the imposing Barobid man in the center of the study as Kinzo. I'm shitting my pants if Battler is Kinzo, and I just fucking got that right off the fucking bat of the game. I hate that that theory is coming back. A new line grew across the magic circle, following Battler's gaze. Then, at the instant it connected with a complicated symbol, the entire magic circle flashed brightly. mean, Battler is literally trying to do the same thing Kinzo was at the beginning of the game. Now he wants to bring Beatrice back. So, how does it look? It is splendid, Master. The 6th game is complete. As Battler wiped his forehead and finally relaxed, Genji, who was standing behind him and watching over his every move, nodded deeply in response. I always thought being a game master meant you could make the tale however you want. But this is seriously harder than I thought. You must write up multiple tales and make the inner and outer sides of the story match. Though truly you have displayed such skill, it is hard to believe that this is your first time. I believe even Erika-sama will be satisfied with this game. Well, hopefully it matches that great detective's tastes. Still, I've gotta honestly respect Beato now. I can hardly believe that she managed to make tales complicated and do it so easily. Easily? Far from it. Beatrice-sama also worried, racking her brain over various contradictions each time she created a tale. She was constantly battling with logic errors. Logic errors? That is when two sides of the tale do not meet, creating a contradiction. When this happens, it becomes a fatal violation of the rules known as a logic error, and the game board will immediately collapse and be destroyed. In its greatest and worst form of error that the which side can make, and one which must always be avoided. Okay, that was the sentence I read. So Beato got close to bumping into those many times in her games? She fought with them every time she created a game. I believe it grew even more difficult for her as you became a more formidable opponent. So, do you think this game I've made is good enough to show Beato? Aww, I really ship them. Yes, of course. Beato hasn't woken up yet, has she? It's been a while since her body was formed as a personification of the rules. Is she still not awake? After remaining silent for a while longer, Genji answered. She woke up 3 days ago. You were concentrating on the construction of the 6th game, so I decided to wait before telling you. My sincere apologies. Oh, really? Yeah, I'll bet she's still all drowsy after sleeping so long. I've really wanted to show her my game. No, it's more than that. I have to show her. I need to tell her I've understood everything. He's blushing. Look at this fucker. Battler's face broke into a smile. There was no trace in his expression of the hatred he once felt towards Beato for murdering his family. What the fuck? Oh, okay, Angie. That's fine. In a way. That was the final riddle of the 5th game. Yes. When Battler reached the truth, there was a great change in his impression of Beato. So should we assume that there really was something between One-chan and Beato? That he forgot all about it? However, Battler suspected this in the 4th game and asked Beato about it. According to the tale, this was denied by the Red Truth. 6 years ago, no person called Beatrice existed for Battler. Ooh, that kind of fucks with my rib theory shit, actually. Maybe not. I don't think that fucks with rib theory all too bad. We can read this as saying that Beato did not exist 6 years ago. Or it can simply mean that she had no connection to Battler at that time. However, either way, Battler did not visit Rokkenjima at all for the next 6 years. October 4th, 1986 should have been the first time Beatrice and Oni-chan met. If so, why was there already some kind of antagonism between them? So I think what's interesting here is because Battler is now in charge of the game, we have to have some person to like bounce ideas off of, and I guess Angie's become that person. But why Angie? Like, because obviously we don't know. I only have ideas as to who Beatrice is. But I don't know. This shit is fucking crazy. I don't have a clue what it means. That sin of Ushirmiya Battlers, which Beato took Battler to task for in the 4th game, might give us a clue. The results of that might have been Beatrice herself. The result? The result of Oni-chan's sin was Beato? That almost sounds as though Oni-chan created the witch called Beatrice himself. Almost as though Beatrice was Battler's piece. Huh? Battler sinned 6 years ago. Because of that sin, people died. The one doing the killing was Beatrice. If you consider the possibility that everything is connected to Battler's sin 6 years ago, then the one who created Beatrice was Battler himself. I thought it sounded almost as though she was Battler's piece. That's an interesting idea. I don't get it. Even if Oni-chan sinned in some way, his crime couldn't have been anything close to murder. If this huge massacre is in retaliation for what he did, then it's totally out of proportion. Beato killed our family. Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, everyone. I can't believe that Oni-chan's sin was anything deserving of that. The weight of a sin depends on the person measuring it. Even a sin so light that Battler might have forgotten could have been so serious to Beato that she hated him enough to massacre his whole family a full 6 years after the fact. Well, even I find that a bit excessive, and more importantly, if she were a person like that, I would find it hard to accept that Battler would act so friendly towards her after discovering the truth. Featherine's observation was an interesting one. In a past game, Beato clearly said that Oni-chan's sin 6 years ago was the cause of this 2-day tragedy. I still don't know what kind of sin that was. However, he figured out what it was at the end of the 5th game, and he even apologized to Beato. Even though she was the witch who massacred his entire family in retaliation for his sin of 6 years previous, Battler apologized to her. Of course, it wasn't the player Battler who apologized. It was the player Battler who apologized, not the Peace Battler whose family had been murdered over and over again. But even so, Battler must have remembered something at the end of the last game that made him feel like apologizing. Does that mean the sin from 6 years ago is hidden somewhere in the tales we've seen so far? Yeah, Angie. I've already formed a certain theory on that matter. Oh, let's hear it. I cannot tell you yet. I want to enjoy being the only one who knows the answer for a little while longer. Well then, I guess I'm done reading for you. Okay, Angie. Haha. Well, we can't have that, can we? Have some patience and read a bit further. My theory is still nothing more than a guess. Once I'm certain of it, I'll tell you. Okay, my master. I actually do want to hear what comes next after all. I can't wait till I have my fucking Eureka moment. Just what kind of connection do Oni-chan and Beatrice have with each other? Understanding that will probably give me a massive clue towards finding the truth of this world. After all, because he remembered that, he was able to reach the truth. I'm like 2 hours into this stream and the 6th game hasn't even started. What the fuck? Wait, it's a fucking remix of this song? It's in a different key. Wait a minute. It's in a different key? Hold up. Epitaph time. This is fucking such a troll. Never mind. This is so bad. Okay. Beatrice! Oh my, I'm so fucking convinced at this point that Kuadorian is actually the mansion. Welcome, Master. Beatrice Saba is waiting for you. This way, please. This place was a villa set aside for Beatrice's use. It was a sacred site for her only, built so that she could spend her days without being affected by the outside world. My heart began to race. I'm so glad she was able to revive, and that everything's okay. Beato is a personification of the rules. So even though she was destroyed once, it's possible for her to be reborn again. Battler had quickly succeeded in reviving Beato's body, but he'd had some trouble summoning her soul back. However, during the time he'd spent immersed in the creation of the 6th game, she had woken up. And this had happened 3 days ago. I'm really confused for continuity's sake. Is it just going to be regular, like, Beatrice that's forgotten the memories? Like, just like child Beatrice? Battler let himself be led into the dining hall. The dining hall had been set up for his and Beato's use. It existed so that they could enjoy some black tea while having conversations that were only possible now that he had reached all of the truth. I want to tell her. I want to tell Beato that I found the truth. Battler couldn't hold back his excitement over this miracle he'd been granted, the miracle of Beato waiting for him in the dining hall to hear what he had to say. How is Beatrice? Same as usual? Is she doing well? Oh yes, she's doing quite well. She has been waiting for you all this time, Master. Oh yes. They're not gonna show us them talking. I fucking guarantee it. It's too fucking big. So she's in the dining hall? Is she eating or something? That's okay. It doesn't matter either way. Oh, you'll be surprised. Beatrice! When he swung open the doors to the dining hall, Battler was greeted by a wonderful sight. Though the food laid out on the table wasn't particularly sensational, it was arranged beautifully, and a champagne bottle stood there waiting. Oh my god. Oh my god, no, it's not her. It's not her. This is not the Beatrice I know. Then, the person clad in that familiar dress with the beautiful golden hair bowed deeply in greeting. But Beatrice, you have my sincerest gratitude for giving me this form. Oh, I knew he would... Aw, she's attached to Battler and makes it her goal to do whatever she can for him. This is gonna be total ship slop for me. Come on, don't worry about that. I'm so glad, Beato. Battler rushed up to Beato and hugged her tightly, just to make sure her body wasn't just mist or an illusion. Okay, game, just fucking break my heart. I solved your riddle for you, but then, before I could tell you about it, you went and disappeared. I'm right here. I will not disappear. It's okay. You can stop talking like that. I'm not gonna ask you for anything in return. Anyway, I want to apologize. I want to talk with you. I don't even know where I should start. You have done nothing that you need to apologize for, Father. I'm just glad to be of service to you. But Beato? Beatrice was born for your sake, Father. Please, let me support you. And Father, congratulations on completing the 6th game. I told you, stop talking like that. You're creeping me out. Do you find this style of speech displeasing? Please forgive my rudeness. Well, I don't find it displeasing, but it's not like you. I guess I like the way you usually talk best. I'm so sad. What the fuck? Beato smiled vaguely. To Battler, it probably looked as though they were both smiling at the unusual way she was talking. However, Beato's smile literally was vague and uncertain. After all, she didn't know how she was supposed to talk. Anyway, Beato, just what kind of joke is this? Don't tell me that the great Beatrice-sama decided to cook for me. When I heard that you had completed the sixth game, I wanted to see if I could prepare a modest reward to congratulate you. Ho ho ho. Beatrice-sama worked really hard to make this. I didn't even need to lend a hand at all. No, I didn't. Also Kumasawa was a fucking liar. The food set on the table was modest and inexpertly made. You could tell by looking at it that Beato, who wasn't particularly skilled with cooking, had given it her all. However, signs of discomfort and irritation were beginning to appear on Battler's face. What's going on here? Well, as she said, Beatrice-sama wishes to congratulate you. Sweat was starting to show up on Kumasawa's forehead. What the fuck is going on? Why is the clock clicking? She was also feeling uneasy. When he noticed, Battler realized that this wasn't just his imagination. Beato turned her back to Battler and stuck a corkscrew into the champagne bottle. Then she showed it to Battler. Father, congratulations on the completion of the sixth game. In the hopes that you will prove victorious over your longtime rival Furudo Erika. No, I can't do the sound. There we go. When presented with the champagne bottle and sound like that, anyone would think that the cork had been pulled out. However, it wasn't the cork. It was the bottom of the bottle. The high-quality champagne that Beato had procured splashed out all over the floor and her dress. Then, the same sound repeated several more times. I don't like this. Each time, one of the plates of food on the table was knocked into the air. Father, did you find the food displeasing? Who are you? I am Beatrice. I was born for your sake, Father. That's not right. Huh? Who is this? This isn't Beato. And anyway, don't call me Father. What's going on here? What is this? Didn't I revive Beato? Genji, what's this all about? My apologies. But that is indeed Beatrice-sama. Are you kidding me? How is this supposed to be Beato? She's totally wrong, a fake. No, this is Beatrice-sama. This is, without a doubt, Beatrice-sama, who was born in accordance with the rules of the game board. No, this isn't anything like Beato. Beato would always talk in that weird way and laugh rudely and... No, this is most certainly Beatrice-sama herself. Then why is she talking like that? Why is she calling me father? But Beatrice-sama was only born a short while ago. It would be far too cruel to expect her to act as she once did so soon. Are you saying that her memory hasn't returned yet? Master, this person truly is Beatrice-sama herself. However, she is not the Beatrice-sama you know so well. What are you talking about? I'm the game master, right? Why can't I revive Beato? Beatrice-sama has revived. However, the old Beatrice-sama lived for 1,000 years. This Beatrice-sama, on the other hand, was only born a short while ago. If she appears to be a different person, well, that just can't be helped. Then how can I revive that Beato? Her body is right here. How can I revive her soul? If she lives the same 1,000-year life again, she should become the same Beatrice-sama she was before. Are you telling me to wait 1,000 years? A person's personality isn't decided solely by their birth. It can change drastically based on how they live and what they experience. This is really fucked up and I'm sad. Do you understand? Even if she is the same Beato, she is not the same. I get it. Even if you had two of the exact same person, they could change enormously depending on their upbringing. Even though they might both be the same human to start with, their upbringing could change them so much that they effectively become two completely different people. Usually, we use the term person to refer to a person, not their personality. However, since humans recognize a person by their personality, those two might as well be different people from a human perspective.
That's so true. If that tragedy 12 years ago hadn't happened, this little lady of ours might be a cute girl who could smile without looking weird.
That's rude. I'm plenty cute as it is. I understand. If a personality is what makes a person in our eyes, you could probably say that its second personality represents a different person entirely, even if it inhabits the same flesh of body. Where have we seen this motif before? At the very least, I'm a completely different person than I used to be 12 years ago. And if my family had come home 12 years ago, then the Angie that resulted would surely be a completely different person from me. Even a single human can become a different person. In fact, depending on their upbringing and endless possibilities, they can become an endless number of different people. So just because this is Beato, that's no guarantee that she'll become the Beato that Oni-chan knows so well. And on top of that, Beatrice is a witch who lived for 1,000 years. People can die and be reborn in just 3 days. 1,000 years is such a huge amount of time. It seems you're quite a skilled reader. For most of my readers, it would be necessary to spend several hundred pages to explain how a single person can become different people depending on their upbringing and time. Don't underestimate your readers. We aren't just reading. We read and we think. If I make 100 people read it, about 90 will be able to. However, only 50 will understand what it means. Not even 20 will actually think beyond that. And all I ask is that they think it over a bit. Nothing more than that. However, it seems that you are one of those precious 20 readers. That's why I invited you here, child of man. You see, Angie actually represents the people who have made it this fucking far in the game. It was seriously hard to like this Hachijo Toya person. However, though this forgery she had written was still in its first stages, it definitely felt as though it contained something very similar to the tales in those message bottles. I'll be right back. I don't think I have my BRB screen. No, I don't. Wait, I do. What the fuck? Okay, it's not gonna let me... That's very scuffed. I'm gonna have to try to fix my Streamlabs tomorrow because it's really fucked up. Okay, be right back. I'm back. I can't believe my fucking game capture isn't working this stream. Why do I have to use fucking desktop capture? It's worse. However, though this forgery she had written was still in its first stages, it definitely felt as though it contained something very similar to the tales in those message bottles. Speaking metaphorically, one might call it a scent. An indescribable, unique, and stern atmosphere, like a stuffy library. The Beatrice who wrote the message bottles and the Hachijo Toya are different people. And yet, this has the same scent as that tale. I see. This is why some of those curious witch hunters are so intensely devoted to her. Their keen sense of smell was able to sniff out that familiar scent. Very well then. Please continue reading. There could be nothing more entertaining than watching your face as you glance over the words. That and speaking with you. I guess it's true that writers are always starving for opinions on their works. However, sorry to disappoint you, I don't have the time to read all the way through with this thick manuscript. More importantly. And yet, you have plenty of time. Both the second hand and the pendulum on the ornate clock behind Hachijo had been moving the whole time. However, absolutely no time had passed for a while now. Only about 3 minutes had gone by since the time she had entered the room. See? Time isn't one of your problems. No sort of time will chase you away until you've finished reading.
Next page, lady. Next page.
Amakusa badgered me to turn the page, so I returned to the world of the tale once more. Why does her tale have the same scent as Beatrice's, I wonder? Is it because she actually has reached the truth as she claims? I have no idea what the implications of this are. I'm really fucking worried. And I'm cold. Does this mean that anyone who knows the truth could create an endless number of message bottles? Is that how the Catbox world works? I see. I guess she might also be an endless witch. In fact, maybe anyone who knows the truth can become an endless witch. An endless tale created by the endless witches. The 2 days starting on October 4th, 1986, where my family is being toyed with endlessly. I have to end it. I have to find a hint of the truth from within this story and end this endless tale. Also, isn't it cool that there are 8 episodes in this game and that's like an infinity symbol? Wait, what's the infinity symbol actually called? It has a name. I'm forgetting it. A lemniscate. That's definitely a correct connection from me to make. Endless Witch, the infinity symbol looks like an 8. Fuck yeah. That's a certified Pier truth. What do you think, Beato? How's the 6th game I've made? Although that looks more like her. Well, you're not the type to give me an honest compliment anyway. You'd probably say something more like, not bad for an incompetent fool like you. Not bad for an incompetent fool like you. Now that's what I've seen what it's like to be. Now that I've seen what it's like to be a game master, it's pretty clear. I wasn't the only one who had it rough each and every game. Creating a game is far from easy. I certainly never failed. What? I certainly never expected us to recognize each other's efforts like this. Creating a game is far from easy. I certainly never expected us to recognize each other's efforts like this. Damn it! All wrong. This isn't Beato. Battler slammed hard on the desk, but the piece Beato showed no reaction. After all, Battler hadn't ordered her to react. It would be easy to revive that Beato as a piece. However, it would only move according to Battler's wishes. Having a conversation with it was no different than talking to himself. The Game Master could summon any kind of piece. He could move those pieces in any way he wanted, reigning as an absolute god. However, for that very reason, they were just pieces. That made it unbelievably lonely and sad. This is freaking me the fuck out. You created many kinds of furniture, as well as several tales in the past. But when I saw that, I was sure you were having a great time doing it. That's all wrong. You were unbelievably lonely. It must have been such a relief for you, having an opponent like me who could actually go against you. Yep, I'm painfully aware of that now. That weird, polite Beato really was you, wasn't she? The way you were 1,000 years ago. And yet, she's a different person. The way she looks just like you is what I really can't get over. I can't stand it. However, she isn't a piece, so she can't go against my will. Battler is just imagining this fucking Beatrice. This is not the real Beatrice. That Beato is much more alive than a piece like you. Why are you being mean to piece Beatrice? She's just trying her best. I get that. But it's all wrong. That isn't you. She's a completely separate person, like a long-lost little sister or something. Huh. And that's why I can't accept her. As much as I hated the peace version of Beato, Battler felt an even stronger dislike for the chick Beato. Even after a whole 1,000 years, she still wouldn't become the original Beato. Even if she were ordered to act like the original Beato, it would just be an imitation. This was a very similar but separate person, and definitely not Beato herself. We're getting into some like Ship of Theseus territory here. So in the previous game, Beato really did disappear for all eternity. No! Even after becoming the Game Master, there was no way to revive her. No, it's like Sakutaro. It's like Sakutaro. Just find the just go see Captain Kawabata. He'll figure it out. Laugh at how pathetic I am. Just give it a rest already. You're just an illusion who won't laugh unless I order it. Can't even continue to laugh unless I keep ordering it. Just disappear. This is so sad. I'm so upset. I want Beatrice to be real now. I want Beatrice to be real. I want to watch Battler and Beatrice kiss. I miss them. I feel so bad. They've both been made animals by this awful game. On Rokkenjima, this day, or rather this round, was the same as any other. It took almost 2.5 hours to get to the game, by the way. The typhoon would be coming very soon. The sky was still overcast, but the clouds were moving quickly. The only thing on Natsui's mind was the plan to cover up Kinzo's absence again this year. Kraus appeared to have suffered a stomach ache from the stress and was sleeping in his room. Oh, Captain Cal- Wait, why does he look exactly the same? Jessica and Kumasawa had left in a boat to go shopping and greet the incoming relatives on Niijima. The servants have been busy since the early morning preparing for the family conference, the greatest event of the year. Shannon and Cannon were rushing to get the guest house ready. I'm gonna miss this game when it's done. If the relatives are going to stay the night, shouldn't the guest rooms in the mansion be more than enough? Good point. It's a pain to clean up this place too, after all. Even so, I like cleaning the guest house. Yeah, it's nice and quiet without Madame and all the annoying servants. Shannon smiled. Yeah, I'm gonna be crying. It's not- I'm gonna be ugly crying. Shannon smiled wryly as she performed a detailed examination of the guest room. Did we forget to clean anything? Do we need to restock anything? She diligently gave the room one final check over. Checked everything thoroughly last night too, didn't you? Also, this is like an interesting question, but I guess what I'm wondering is, do Shannon and Cannon still have like memories of the previous fragments? You really are dedicated. It's days like this that you tend to get pranked if you're careless. You can never find important things when you need them. That's what Gap fucks that shit up. If things were supposed to be closed turned out to be open. That's because you're too careless. You don't pay attention while you work. I guess that's why you're helping me check. Thanks. There's nothing to thank me for. If you were a bit more alert, I wouldn't have to help at all. But you actually just want to be with me, right? You're such a good kid. Or you're such a kid. That's not it at all. It's because you've been so ecstatic about George-sama lately. You're messing up so much I can't let you out of my sight. Cannon-kun, let's chat a bit. You can't do that now. We're working. You keep making fun of me and George-sama. But how's it going between you and Jessica-sama? Nothing's going on in particular. If you have time to talk about that, let's just finish this. Cannon had very obviously been trying to change the subject. Shannon had then snuck up behind him and pushed him down onto the bed. So, why did you turn down Milady when she asked you to go with her to welcome the relatives? Because I have work to do. Liar. You don't actually have any work at all. Shannon and Ken had switched roles. Normally Ken was the one in control, but when it came to romance, it was the opposite. As Shannon had said, Jessica and Ken were supposed to have been the ones to go greet the relatives at the harbor on Niijima. However, Cannon had suddenly claimed that he had work to do, so Kumasawa had gone instead. Cannon didn't have any work to do. Shannon knew this. Milady told me, despite what happened after the cultural festival, she really does like you, Cannon-kun. Even though I'm furniture. That's right. And I'm furniture too. But despite that, you're in love with a human. Even though you can't do that. You think so? Maybe we are furniture. Just because we take that for granted. I don't have any special feelings for Milady Jessica. I only think of her as the daughter of the family we serve. Really? Really. He's telling the truth. Because he is actually pretending to have a thing for her. What? You know, there's a chance that George Sama will propose to me tonight. Ooh, she predicted that? Shannon wore an incredibly peaceful smile on her face. But also, if they do have, like, knowledge of the continuity, then that's not even a surprise. But Cannon could tell that there was no way she'd let him change the subject. Cannon realized that she must have made him help out here in the guest house in order to talk to him about this, and he clicked his tongue softly. You really think you can marry a human, even though you're furniture? I think I can. Won't work. Why not? That dream future that George Shama has imagined for you two is something you could never give him. Well, we aren't humans. We're furniture, inferior to them. George Sama only thinks that you're human. Well, that is true, but I'm impressed that you've managed to keep him fooled this long. Do you really think you can keep tricking him like that forever? Even though you still haven't been able to tell him that you're furniture. Being furniture or being human has nothing to do with this. I believe that George Sama will accept everything about me. And yet, you don't have the courage to check and make sure. You know what? I think I'll accept his proposal. As Shannon looked up at the ceiling, she spoke of the imagined future that she and George would create. Though some anxiety over her future appeared on her face, so did the joy of knowing what it was like to live with love. As Cannon watched this vivid dream he was being shown, he knew that none of his words would reach Shannon anymore. Shadow the Hedgehog ass motherfucker. You can just do it when you want. Once you've said you'll do something, you can be incredibly stubborn. Yep, I want to live my life my own way. I'd like to stop being afraid over who's furniture and who's human. Cannon walked over to the window silently. He saw the rose garden filled with boring gray flowers in bloom. He realized that Shannon was acting above her place, and he knew that her tale had no chance of a happy ending. However, he also knew that no words of his could change her mind now that she had made her decision. In that case, it doesn't matter what I say. If I tell you to stop, you won't listen. And if I tell you to do what you want, you'll do what you want. Why are you talking to me about this? It's not like you care what I have to say. What I want to know is how you feel about Milady. I have nothing to do with the two of you. You see, this scene was made for me. This scene was handpicked, designed for me, because I'm suspecting the fuck out of Jessica. And like, I think the whole thing about her and Cannon is a total farce, and I think it's like a total fucking... And I think Cannon realizes it, and that's why he becomes human, is because he rebels about it when he tries to kill them in episode 2, or in episode 4, whenever he breaks out of the prison. Like, I feel like it's, like, that's the hero Cannon motif. And that's why Shannon sees blue and this motherfucker just sees gray, is because, well, she gets to have fun, like, having a relationship. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Look at me, I'm a child bride. I'm Shannon. Cannon just has to deal with the fucking shitty reality that somebody's just using him as furniture. And maybe his moment is when he breaks free of that. I think somebody said my reading as Jessica as Beatrice is, like, a lot darker than Shannon being Beatrice, and that's why I like it more. Do you really feel absolutely nothing for Milady? No, I don't, because I keep telling you. Liar. What makes you think that's a lie? I can tell. I'm your Nae-san, aren't I? You don't know. You can't know what I'm feeling. I do. I know everything about you, Canon-kun. If you really do know, then why do you ask? Your head and your heart are completely filled by George-sama, aren't they? It's that sincerity of yours that I love. That's why I'm rooting for you in the only way I can. Otherwise, even I wanted to love Milady. Canon finally turned to face her, honestly, and openly telling her how he really felt. That was what Shannon wanted to hear. And after hearing that, she pressed Canon even further to reveal his true feelings. You can't leave it at that. I won't let you. Then what should I do? What do you want me to say? Don't dodge by saying I wanted to love her. All you need to do is honestly tell me what you really feel. Milady is too dazzling for me? Come on. The way she lives is dazzling, like the sun. That's why I love her. I was so happy when Milady stretched out her hand and asked me to walk with her. No, I still am happy. You love her, don't you? Yes, I do. I love Milady. Finally, Canon confessed his feelings in their entirety. In fact, by saying it aloud, he finally understood how he truly felt, as passionate tears welled up in his eyes. Canon finally accepted it. He couldn't stop the tears from dripping down his face. Both of us are exactly the same, locked up on Rokujima and living without any hope at all. And yet Milady was able to light her own path and create her own fate. She was so dazzling that I envied her. I felt as though if I could be with her, I could find my true self instead of being the pitiful person I am now. When you turned down Milady's confession, were you sad? I was. I never realized that a lie you make to yourself could be so sad, so painful, so excruciating. And I couldn't forgive myself for hurting Milady with that lie. They're really trying to break up my Jessica is Beatrice theory, but I'm unshaken. I am resolute. For now. I believe that I didn't have what it takes to ever fall in love again. But that wasn't true. You know what's needed to fall in love? It's something you can't get from anyone but yourself. Being furniture or not has nothing to do with it. If you decide for yourself that it won't work, then it won't. Wait, what was what? What's that? When I said I was standing resolute that Jessica is Beatrice? You mustn't leap to such rigid conclusions. That's why I, overambitious furniture that I am, gave myself what's needed to fall in love. But alive to make yourself could be so sad. I couldn't forgive myself. Like lying. Lying. I believe that I didn't have what it takes to ever fall in love again. Again. Well, maybe that's why Canon goes along with it at first. So you have it too, Canon-kun. You mean I have what it takes to fall in love? Yes. If you won't give it to yourself, I'll give it to you. Thank you. I feel as though I can finally see the sea. I'm certain of it. George-sama will propose to me tonight. When he does, I will accept. And I intend to leave this island and start a new life in our new world. If that's the path you've chosen, then I have no say in the matter. I'll leave this island, and after that, I'll never return again. I'll have to say farewell to you, Canon-kun. You're right. We won't see each other again, will we? If you do love Milady from the bottom of your heart, and if your feelings are at least as strong as my feelings for George-san, then you and I will have to settle those feelings, to settle whose feelings are really stronger. Nae-san, this is the best for both of us. Don't give up on your feelings for my sake. Even though my selfishness might keep you from your happiness. I realize that same thing about myself. I know that my happiness will bring you pain. Why did I have to settle this? Eric's like literally saying the shit that's in my mind. If your feelings are at least as strong as my feelings for... Why? Hold up. Let's go. Man, this is a two who are close moment. Or maybe it's just like the simple explanation that would the family really accept two servants marrying in? Like, that's the most literal way of looking into it. We have no choice but to hurt each other. Oh, this goes back to the whole Shannon and George thing. As she said this, Shannon turned her back to Cannon. Cannon watched Shannon from behind. He was struck by her strength and the love she still felt for him despite everything. Nae-san, living with you made me happy. Me too. I wouldn't have lasted this long without you. And that's why I was able to meet George-san. Yeah. And I wouldn't have realized how dazzling Milady is if it weren't for you. I won't abandon the way I feel. I'll focus on that feeling alone, ignoring everything else, and I won't look away when I trample over your heart. I can't even tell what... Is that an egg? Me too. I won't use you as an excuse to hide the way I really feel. Whether my love bears fruit, this is so fucking crazy. I really don't like this chapter. This chapter is feeling really dark. This chapter is feeling very fucking dark for some reason. Whether my love bears fruit or yours does, we'll both support the victor. Yes, I promise. And if I win, I will love Milady and treasure you. Thank you. But if I win, I'll forget you and this island and leave this place forever. Yes, whichever of us wins, that person will pursue their love with all they've got. Even if they know that love will be unrequited. Whoa. What is up with these two? What am I missing? And then they've got this whole game symbology as too. This isn't Shannon as Beatrice shit. I'm gonna be so sad if it's Shannon Tris. Yes. After all, by now, we are not furniture. Alright. Something's different this time. And why is Battler showing this to us? Now we have to freaking rap through Battler's intentions and everything. Oh my fucking god. The boat carrying the relatives docked at the harbor. They left the boat one by one, making fun of Battler. Goda wasn't the only one to greet them. Cannon was there too. It's been quite some time, everyone. Allow me to welcome you to Rokunjima. I hope that your long journey went smoothly. Welcome to Rokunjima. Ah, good, good. Goda complimented Cannon in a whisper. Cannon ignored this, looking just a little sour, and continued to greet the incoming relatives. Yeah, I'm terrified right now. This is your first time meeting Goda-san and Cannon-kun, isn't it, Battler-kun? Oh, I haven't got to do an in so long. It's my first time meeting Battler, too.
Goda-san's a great chef. He's the only reason anyone would ever want to come to this island.
I am most honored. Battler-san, I do hope that you look forward to your meals during your stay. I can't wait. I'm counting on you. Knock still applies. That is not permitted to solve foods that are not presented. Well, the current troll fic that is like, not troll theory, which is like swirling around my head is that Battler is canon. And I don't even know what the fuck it is at this point. Everything has been presented. Up until the end of episode 5, I have all the tools to solve who Beatrice is. Long time no see, Canon-kun. You seem to be in high spirits today. That's great. You think so? Oh yes, your face is looking brighter today. Maybe it's your complexion, or maybe it's your gaze that looks a bit more gallant.
Haha, it must be a growing phase. That's how a boy becomes a man.
You usually look as though you're about to pass out from anemia. Isn't it freaking goofy how they were all talking about, like, making fun of Battler, but they're out actually making fun of Canon? You're a bit different today.
You've got some spunk.
A boy can change a lot in just 3 days.
I guess this means even Canon-kun's getting a bit more manly.
You're making fun of you, okay? We're all complimenting you. I'm freaking the fuck out. Why does every fucking Umineko episode make me fucking wipe my fucking chalkboard? This fucking game knows how to fuck with my brain. Umineko! Canon had sworn to start changing the way he lived bit by bit. However, he had only meant to change within himself and hadn't expected that it would be shown on the outside. He was a bit shocked to hear his expression had changed so much. Also the babies from the fucking Fukuin house. Just when I get super comfy in my Jessica Beatrice theory, the game is doing shit that makes me fucking question it. That people had apparently noticed as soon as he opened his mouth. No, maybe the real surprise was that his normal expression must have looked so incredibly sullen in comparison. I'm okay. I don't even remember like half the shit I've done at this point though. Goda led the way up to the guest house. Canon brought up the rear, helping to carry some of Kumasawa's shopping. Does my face really look that bright today? Oh ho ho! It looks that way to me as well. Did something good happen? Even Kumasawa was saying it. Canon, unable to see what his own face looked like, hung his head in embarrassment. When they reached the rose garden, they could still see the others streaming into the guest house. Then he saw Jessica running towards him from there. Is even Milady Jessica going to say that I'm in a good mood today? Canon hung his head even deeper. And so, almost as though he couldn't control himself, Canon spoke first. Do I really look that different? Huh? Well, you know, you aren't usually the type to come out and say hello of your own accord. That's probably why everyone was surprised. I apologize for not going with you earlier, milady. Huh? Oh, don't worry about that. I'm the one who's sorry for asking you to come all the way out to Nijima to meet with me to meet everyone. I know how busy you must be today. I didn't have anything in particular to do. We're just so dazzling. So dazzling that I couldn't bear to be with you. I was just weak. Jessica faltered, uncertain what Canon was talking about. However, she realized that this was something too important to be laughed off. Why is it doing it from this one? It's not the right one.
綺麗事を詩人のように語るな。愛は情欲なんだよ。少女漫画みたく綺麗事ばっかりで語れねえんだよ。男どもはお前の匂いに惹かれて群がるウジバエどもなんだよ。そんなこともその年でまだ理解できねえのかよ。お前は失望するぜ。その後ろのメガネ男のドス黒い
Glasses man.
一度でも覗いちまったらがっかり愕然唖然呆然全然ダメだぜショーノン
Shut up! Oh my god, I can't wait to replay this game and listen to all the voice acting.
いや語るな家具がこの家具何様のつもりだよ語りやがって愛なんて結局はど汚ねえ汚物をどう綺麗に見せようかって
It's so weird with the fucking lip syncing.
そいつに気づいて人は大人になるんだろう死ねよクズ家具スクラップお前を汚らわしいウジ虫に変えてやるよそれでもそのメガネがお前を愛するか試してやるよそいつの愛のどぎたねえ現実ってやつを
Oh, I remember this.
死ねよガラクタが
Oh, the rain in the background.
てめえが愛を語るんじゃねえ
Why does this game have so many different fucking cuts? It's so bizarre. This game could definitely use a remaster. With one single creative vision. In like slightly better text. Did something happen, Canon-kun? Shannon says she's going to get married. I see. So George Nissan is going to propose this time after all. This time? Jessica, what's that face you're making? Jessica thought Cannon was sad because Shannon would be leaving, that this new mental state had caused him to change his behavior. And Cannon realized that Jessica was probably thinking this. So he spoke to her clearly and honestly, because he wanted her to know. I decided that I would stop working here if Nason ever quit. I know. So are you going to quit too, Cannon-kun? I'm not sure anymore. I feel that if I quit, I might lose sight again of something you revealed to me, shining like the sun. Fuck, what's up with Canon and the sun shit? I have to be right about Canon's name. I have to be fucking right. Canon's name is going to be something day related. It's so fucking good. It's a great theory. I'm so proud of that theory. Jessica could only stare blankly, unable to understand what he was saying. However, she did realize that he was trying to tell her something important. He's named after the fucking camera, Doi. And so, she was able to accept that his next words were neither a lie nor a joke. Milady Jessica, I love you. I love you too. You live your life like the sun, and I want to try walking that path alongside you. I have a feeling that with you, I'll be able to break free from the me that I despised as furniture. You aren't furniture, Canon-kun. And you weren't born just so you could become a servant. A boy your age should be enjoying life much, much more. I'm dazzled too. You're so dazzling I can hardly see. This is how I truly feel. I'm sorry for trying to hide it for so long. I apologize for hurting you on that day in my cowardice. That's okay. Just hearing you say that makes me happy. I love Canon. I can't wait till Canon is revealed to be the true hero of Umineko by choosing to rightfully slit Nanjo and Kumasawa's throats in an act of vainglorious fury. Because it was the right thing to do, because those people suck ass. I plan to stop being furniture. I'm going to college. I ask that you give me some time to do that. Yeah, that would be real as fuck. It was actually him. Please forgive this last bit of weakness. That there's nothing weak about you. You've shown me. You've shown me that you have the incredible courage to change yourself from the way you used to be. So I'll support you until the end, and I won't rush you until you're ready. If I'm the sun lighting your path, that's because I wanted to shine more brightly than anyone else, so that you'd look only at me. Without you, there's no way I'd become anything like a sun. So I'll wait, no matter how long it takes. Thank you, milady. Milady is a bit stiff, don't you think? May I call you by your name? Sure. But only when we're alone, okay? Otherwise, it might make things tough for you. Good point. Canon's smiling? That's fucked up. That's how you know this scene isn't fucking real, because Canon is smiling. Nason and George Sama are doing the same, it seems. Oh, not the spooky noise. If Shannon had been about to get engaged, you wouldn't have just said what you just said now, right? Cannon hung his head, at a loss for words for some time. But it was true. If Shannon hadn't told him about the engagement, he probably wouldn't have been having this conversation at this moment. Yes. Because of that, I was able to think long and hard. Ah, come on. You heard about Shannon and you wanted to see what love felt like yourself, right? Yes. What is that face, Cannon? Now fucking Cannon's hitting the control 3. Or the colon 3. That's a pretty straight answer. Well, when I watched those two, I was pretty jealous myself. In truth, it wasn't quite like that for either of them. They'd been shown the courage needed to speak up and tell the one you love how you feel. It's what pushed both Cannon and Jessica forward. So what should I call you? Jessica works fine. Just saying it like that would be a bit embarrassing. And you can use San at least at first. Why not try it out? Come on. Jessica-san. Good, that'll do for now. And I'd like to call you by your name, Cannon-kun. You have a real name besides Cannon, don't you? I'll bet it has the character blah in it, like Cannon does. What could it be? My name is Yoshia. Fuck! My theory's fucking wrong! No! My canon name theory! It was so good! Nope, that was an Umineko post. Scroll up. Nope. Oh, how is it written? Jessica tried tracing out various characters on the palm of her hand. I'm a parallels head. Then Canon used his own finger to write out his name on her hand. That's sweet. You write it as blah 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 blah. So you're Yoshia-kun. Yeah, that's a great name. Totally better than my weird name. That's not true. Milady Jessica has a wonderful name. Hey, say it again. Huh? Milady Jessica has... One more time. Milady Jessica has a wonderful... is something wrong? No big deal. Thanks, Yoshia-kun. The red flowers of the rose garden seemed to celebrate the two lovers whose feelings had finally connected. No! Jessica is Beatrice. I shall not love her. It was funny, though. He didn't even realize what he was fucking doing. The scene was watched by one not human who gazed out quietly from beneath the rose garden arbor. That is truly a male moment, though. I really fuck with that as a male. Because I would fall into every single trap that ever happened to me like that. I would fuck that shit up so bad. Oh, Beatrice. Oh, wow. Come to think of it, those two had never called each other by their names until now. Kind of interesting that after we see this Jessica scene, here's Beatrice. Jessica hadn't known Canon's true name. Canon hadn't called Jessica by her name. When people call each other by name, they acknowledge the worth of the other's soul. That's why names are sacred. Ooh, I love that motif. I'm a huge fan of that. That's like one of my favorite fiction things, is like the idea of names having power. And that's been all over this fucking game. I mean, it goes without saying, because we have been super fast and loose with names here in this game. And who's actually named what means that they've acknowledged your soul. Is that why Father wants me to call him by his name? No, that's probably wrong. When Father sees me, it reminds him of that other me, the past me. And I'm sure that me called Father by name. However, that probably doesn't mean Father would be happy to hear me call him by his name. After all, I am me. I am not the Beatrice Father knows well. What can I do to help Father? How can I be useful to him? After all, that's the only reason I was born. This feels like such a fucking parallel right now. It's crazy. Hanging her head, Beatrice sat all alone in the Golden Lands arbor next to the rose garden, and she was watched by the Witch of Theater going and her Miko as they sat across from each other. Isn't it fucking crazy that this scene just keeps stacking different metas of people watching sadly? We've now hit the third meta. We've hit the... And we're watching. Exactly. Poor kid. Wait. What do you mean, wait? And you're watching me watching. So that's yeah, I'm actually part of the narrative. Thank you for participating in a Ryukishi social experiment. I never thought I'd see you feel compassion for Beato. It'd be too cruel to call this Beato and the former Beato the same person. They're completely different people. It may be that, by the rules, this Beato is the Beato. However, saying that would be horribly unfair to her. Battler must be very depressed to have things end up this way after reviving his former rival. Man, maybe after this, I'm gonna be like a total sucker for from rivals to lovers or whatever fucking trope's called. I sort of get Oni-chan's despair, but I can understand how this kid feels too. No person can become a replacement for another. Yeah? Oh, this is such a fucking motif. Not even a past version of that same person. Compared to the young boy and girl who had found new versions of themselves by calling each other their true names. Who are they talking about here? This witch looked very feeble. Replacements, reincarnations, body doubles, fucking... Oh, this game is tricky as fuck. The witch knew that she was an illusion created in the image of the person she once was. However, this idea of like Beatrice being like something like a title that is inherited, like that does fuck with rib theory. I don't know. Rib theory, I feel like has at least a little bite of the truth. Even if it's not accurate, I feel like I can piece together small truths in Umineko. I'm just struggling at like having my one grand narrative, I guess. Oh shit. She also knew that it would only hurt Battler if she were to try and pretend to be that person. Yeah? And despite all of that, this Beato wants to be useful to Battler. This Beato wants to be useful to Kinzo. How admirable. Is that the purpose for the witch known as Beatrice? That is what she claims. She says that she was created to be of service to Battler. So a Beato who was born for Oni-chan's sake eventually commits a serial murder and drags Oni-chan into a bizarre game that she calls eternal torture? I don't get it. I believe you also understand that one can become a different person over 1,000 years. At the very least, Beatrice was once a pure creature who was born for Battler's sake. It's also very clear that in her current feeble state, she doesn't possess any of the courage or motivation needed to bring about such fearsome serial murders. That means the sinister witch we all know must have changed during the 1,000 years since her birth, or the 6 years since her birth. We keep getting this 1,000 years business. But I get the feeling that those words are just a metaphor for a really long time. And yeah, that's what I've been saying in the world of witches. As you get closer to the world of gods, the concept of time becomes increasingly vague. 6 years can become 1,000, and 1,000 years could be nothing more than a quick nap. One can fit an eternity long enough to be deserving of the title 100-year-old witch in a mere 2 weeks. Interesting. In other words, the pure Beato transformed into the cruel Beato during 6 years that could be called 1,000. So does that mean something bad happened during those 6 years that made her hate Oni-chan? That doesn't make sense. During those 6 years, Oni-chan not only stayed away from Rokujima, he stopped using the Ushiramiya name. He had nothing to do with that change. Her hatred has got to be totally misguided. I'll be citing. I think rib theory is my only fucking idea. Oh, so this is where you were. Shall I make you some black tea? Kumasawa-san, there's something I'd like to know. Oh ho ho. Very well, what is it? My name is Beatrice, isn't it? Yes, that is correct. You are Beatrice-sama, milady. However, Beatrice that father talks about isn't me. Well, I think father wanted me to be that person. I think that might be why. Was disappointed. He was disappointed because no matter how much I looked like her, I am a different person. That isn't true. You are you, Beatrice-sama herself. You have merely lost your memory of the past after being newly reborn. Even without your memory, you are still Beatrice-sama. You are the same person whom the Master loves. So then, how can I regain those memories? Well... Beato looked at Kumasawa with hopeful eyes, as though praying that she would tell her the way. Kumasawa averted her gaze unhelpfully, as though trying to say that she'd like to, if only such a way existed. Yeah. And that's why Angie was called Beatrice. All we have left is Beatrice. But even she doesn't really know. The question is now is who did Battler get pregnant? One thing that makes a person Beatrice is their relation to the cat box. Okay. If I can't regain those memories, can't you at least tell me what kind of person the Beatrice father loved was? That much I can tell you, but... I was born for father's sake. So I want to become the golden witch Beatrice that father desires. Kumasawa has purple eyes. I never even noticed that. This fucking chapter is sad as fuck. Beatrice-sama. I cannot use magic. However, if the witch father desires could use it, then I will learn. I want to become the witch he desires. It's the only way I can repay father for recreating me. That's admirable. Without the 1,000 years gone wrong, she really is an incredible kid. A chick of a witch. Very interesting. I've taken a liking to her, Angie. I shall allow this chick to make use of my library. Let us open the door that leads back to the world of witches. So you're going to make her read aloud the stories about her previous self? Yes, I want to know too. The creation story of the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Is now a good place to stop, or should I keep going a little longer? Ellipses. Very well. Okay, if you wish it, then let us open the door once more. Kumasawa-san. Crying Beatrice is not fitting. A golden splash welled up around them. It was a cloud of gold butterflies. Oh god, where the fuck are we going? With a flash of gold, the form of the old lady transformed into that of a witch in a dress. You must choose the path that you are to walk down. Yeah. It was the sole survivor. Fuck, this game is so fucked up, but I feel like my brain is so bad at solving this shit. All I can do is fucking game theory shit. I feel like I'm so bad at fucking like piecing all my fucking ideas together. This is so crazy. I hope I figure it all out this chapter. I hope I do. I still think my theories are good. Fuck it. You must choose the path you are to walk down. Let us call it a path of roses. The beautifully blooming roses may encourage you, and their thorns may torment you. But even so, it is a path you've walked down before. You may pass through the same 1,000 years. You may pass through a different 1,000 years. If you wish, you may even return back to the way you came. I'll move on forward. I don't want to spend 1,000 years in this garden drinking tea. I, Beatrice, was born for father's sake, so I want to live for father's sake. Please tell me about the Golden Witch. The Great Witch spread her arms, communicating the other's unbending determination to the brilliant heavens. Also, I think it's very interesting that they're never calling Battler by his first name. I almost wonder if this is like a different point in the timeline. Like this might be Beatrice number 3. Learning about being Beatrice number 3. From Beatrice number 1. At that moment, a brilliant light covered the two of them. And before they knew, they were in a strange study. Yeah, I'm not assuming the game is told in a linear perspective anymore. There sat the master of this library, the great old witch and her Miko. Virgilia gave a deep and elegant bow. What the fuck? They just jumped up a narrative. What the fuck? It is the greatest honors to be in your presence, Lady Featherine Augustus Aurora, the majestic witch of theater-going, drama, and spectating. Raise your head, child of man. Oh, that's right. She did invite her. That is correct. She did say she could use the library. I shall... Wait, does that mean we get regular Beatrice back just because? That would be so cool. That would be so easy. I like it. I shall give that child the privilege of using my library however she likes for a time. Angie, my Miko, you will see to her needs. Sure, as you wish, my master. I know it's not that easy. You know, you could just say, let me read your story. Miko of the Witch of Theater Going. I leave Beatrice in your care. Pleased to meet you. The Beatrice you're trying to become was suffering from something in her own way. At the very least, you've been released from that from the time being. Will you really go on a journey to regain those shackles? Yes, I want to become the Golden Witch. That is the reason I was born. I, the endless infinite witch Publius Virgilia Maro. She has a full name? Damn. Ask that you make her journey through purgatory a pleasant one, granting her your protection. This scene feels very, very freaking allegorical. Huh? Oh, let it be known that as the Miko of the Witch of Theater Going, and as the Endless Witch and Apprentice Witch of Resurrection, I, Angie Beatrice, do humbly accede to your request, or whatever. Featherine snorted. So, you also bear the name of Beatrice? That's right. I know a lot about you. Please teach me. What kind of person was I? Sure. And I want you to teach me. Why did you become the person you were? In this library, the fragments showing the tales of all your games up until now are stored as books. By reading... They're reading Umineko? Pause the fight. What? They're reading Umineko now. What? This is so fucking House of Leaves. Anybody who's like mentioned having me mention House of Leaves before, spoiler for House of Leaves. This is fucking House of Leaves. They're reading Umineko. Oh my fucking god. This is fucking Will Navidson burning the last pages of House of Leaves. Oh my god. By reading them, can I become a golden witch? No, you'll just learn to hate George, actually, Beatrice. To become a golden witch, one must solve the epitaph of the gold. This trial cannot be skipped, not even by Beatrice herself. I'll do my best. So please, let me read the books in this library. Ugh. Oh, I gotta stretch. This is so fucking crazy. As admirable as ever. Why are you so set on ending up like that again? I do not know what I was like then. This is like part of the game's like infinity theme too, like of endlessness. Which is also tied to the theme of duality because of the whole thing with finiteness versus endlessness. Oh my fucking god. This is just a game where I only talk about the parallels of Umineko without having any idea what's actually going the fuck on. However, if that me can be of use to Father, I want to become it. Angie sighed resignedly. No words would stop this girl's feelings of respect. Exactly. Both alive and dead. Angie was the Miko of the Witch of Theater Going. She could do nothing but watch over the stage. That's right. They weren't actually interfering with the play. This was just a bit of directing, to shine the spotlight onto the tale of Beato's past. Even this was nothing more than the Witch of Theater Going's watching. Even this was nothing more than the Witch of Theater Going watching a play. If you read, then you will learn what kind of person the old Beatrice was. However, you must decide what you will take from that experience. You are free to stay in this library, or leave it, or even return to it again later. In exchange, I will watch your play. You'll watch my play? Basically, it means you can do whatever you want. Thank you very much. You just put something together and it made you sad. Okay. She likes it when you call her Featherine. Thank you very much, Featherine-sama. After being welcomed in by Featherine, Beato left on a journey to discover herself. That tale connected the old tale with the new one. It wove them together. Oh, this is such a... What's up with this gold and purple shit too? Like, that's part of rib theory, I get it, but the 1,000-year-old tale about her returning has returned to its starting point, becoming a snake eating its own tail. It's it's infinity. It's the Ouroboros. It's the what the fuck? It's literally this shit. The ring of that snake began slowly, bit by bit, to turn into the shape of a small island floating on the sea. And that was Rokkenjima, which also has 2 fucking names. The 1,000 years of the witch born on this island were tied to the island. Was it 1,000 years or just 6? Or did this tale start even further back into the past? It did. The tale started like way back in like 1905 or whatever the fuck. Beatrice went out on a journey to find herself. I hope I have fucking chapstick on me because my lips are so fucked right now. What the fuck? Is this where I should stop? Alright. Well then, that was a 3.5-hour stream. This game is really trying to make me second guess myself. This game is so fucking crazy. Holy shit. This game is fucking destroying my brain. Alright, well, I'll be back tomorrow. And I don't even have work on Wednesday, so that means I'll be able to have fun. But I'm not going to be done with work until 8, so it's probably I'm not going to be live until 9, probably 9-ish, like closer to 9. Umineko! Alright, well, see you guys. Bye. Good night.